Hey, fitness marketer. And yes, you are a fitness marketer. You may be a personal trainer. You may be a Pilates instructor. You may be a yoga instructor. You may wear all those hats. You may be a health coach. And you are a marketer. If you are successful, you're a marketer. And you need to really embrace those words, that title, that role. And here's the best part. It's not sleazy, salesy, or pushy. That no longer works, really never did. But I gotta say, it got some people to a certain degree of success. But the problem is this, that there are so many people online, even if you do marketing well, you have to really use your own unique secret sauce. You cannot copy someone else. So my goal here is not to ever have you want to copy me, even though I too have had success for a pretty good 38-year run. And starting over, gutting my personal and business life at 49, I can say that, yep, I know it works. I know what I'm saying and what I was saying works. Having gone through the pandemic, I know what works. I know right now who's struggling and who's out of business and who's staying or getting into business. And that, my friends, is my goal for you. So we're going to talk about better fitness marketing tools than a newsletter. There are better fitness marketing tools than TikTok if you don't have a back end that makes sense and attracts new subscribers. It is well into 2022 if you're listening to this in real time. It's even further into the future. Do not go away if it's not right now, the end or middle of February. Stick around. I'm Deborah Atkinson. You're listening to Fitness Marketing Mastery, where I address trainers and health coaches' top struggles and concerns, helping you have better marketing that feels anything to you or your customers, like sleazy, salesy, and pushy words, but instead feels authentic and transparent. So you don't feel like you have to go get ready to do videos, that you're always ready. I mean, that is the beauty of being you all the time and letting people see that, because people want to do business with people. If you are portraying a something that you're not, probably you're not going to attract the right people you love working with. There is never going to be that point where you can put your hair down and be you and help them get successful. So let's dive into this episode. And before we do, I want to let you know that I'm actually not talking copywriting. However, I am going to say this. The Marketing to Women copywriting course could be an advantage for you if you feel, as we go through this content, this is a great idea, but I actually don't know where to start or what to say. So keep it in mind. It's there if you want it. And I will make sure that if you land on that page from the show notes, you get a very special rate for doing so. All right. Are you inviting people to your email newsletter? That one died, my friends, in the early 2000s. I know some people are still using that invite. They're not doing really well. And my first guess is that their entire marketing funnel really isn't connected or intended to nurture non-buyers. Now, if that just made you have pause, I hope you recognize that I did. A pregnant pause right there is for impact, my friends. Sometimes it's the best thing to say. Nothing at all. Let that sit. But are you nurturing your non-buyers? Because chances are people aren't going to just opt in, get your freebie, or you say, yeah, send me your newsletter, and then buy something from you right away. It's just not the way it works. You got to date somebody first, right? Before you hold hands, before you kiss, before you do whatever we can't say here on public radio, the whole drill. And you have to do that with your customers. That's the part of a funnel. Like, what happens next? Is it logical? Does it make sense based on how well they know you? You know them, right? Clubs and fitness centers go right to having conversations with members. Most of their emails coming out really don't nurture a new person. They don't even indicate that someone might be a new person who got on their email list, who isn't a customer yet, who isn't a member, who isn't involved or able to purchase some of their insider things. And that is just missing out on an entire market and opportunity to get the next layer of customer. You nurture them, you give them things, and then they stick around because they want more. So that's like completely ignoring somebody that you invite to a party who knows nobody else. They came because they knew you, but potentially they knew you in a different way than many of your other friends or your colleagues from work. That's like ignoring them. You let them stand alone in the corner because they don't know anybody else. And maybe they're more of an introvert. They don't really have any common memories with others at the party. They probably aren't going to stay too long. And they're probably not going to have a really positive experience or memory of the party. So you haven't really nurtured that relationship. So in this Say This, Not That episode, I'm reviewing a common problem that trainers and health coaches both do. So here you go. Instead of inviting people to your email newsletter, please go right now to any page on your website that might say, join my newsletter, subscribe to my newsletter. Because if there is not something juicy that they get immediately that they can't pass up, they don't want it. They don't necessarily want juicy coupons that you might someday send. So promise something specific, give it to them. And then when they get on in an email at the bottom, say, look, because you got this, I'm going to continue sending you from time to time relevant information about research, about activities, videos that might appeal to you, and our programs and what's coming up. So you'll have the insider first opportunity to join if it feels like a fit. You let them know that that's how you get them on your nurture list and keep them to stay. Then you honor that. And you do specifically send them information. So if you are, for instance, sending a woman who's 59, who really is there because they've just found out that they're diagnosed with osteoporosis and are concerned about it, you're sending them content that is really intended for people who want to run 5Ks or 10Ks and get off the couch to do it and can do high impact activity, and they want to really truly burn fat. Potentially you're going to lose that woman because every time she opens up your email, there's nothing really for her. It feels like, gosh, this is for a younger crowd. So be conscious of who you attract, how you attract them, and how you serve them next. So here they are. I'm going to give you 4 juicy ideas. Number 1, this is not a news flash, right? But you want to offer a juicy freebie that they will love in exchange for their email address. Of course, that's the cost. Juicy freebies, not rocket science. Everybody knows you need one. Do you have one? Does it convert? Is it actually something people want and find irresistible? And if they don't, I have a link for you in the show notes that you should be looking at. Helpful tips on how to create the content. What is it? How to create the title that will be like, I gotta have that. And how to decide what kind of platform or delivery you're going to use. Are you going to write an ebook? Are you going to create videos? Are you going to create some kind of an audio whispering somebody's ear while they're going for a walk? Kind of a freebie. Any of those way good. And there's a dozen other reasons or a dozen other ideas and reasons why you might choose them, because it's got to be based on what your audience wants and how they like to consume. All right. So that is number 1, offer a juicy freebie. If yours is sitting there, but it's not attracting anybody, you better decide right away. Is that because you're really not talking about it? You're not sending any traffic to the page where they opt in to get it? Or is it that traffic is coming, but they really don't ask for it. They don't really want it. They don't give you their email in exchange for it. You need to know which problem it is. Number 2, instead of inviting people to your newsletter, provide a learning experience like a webinar. And I will tell you that, yes, you can do a free Facebook or Instagram or YouTube live, but guess what the difference is? You have not collected any email. So that's a fail, my friend. You want email subscribers. You can grow your fans, your followers all day long and still never have customers. If someone subscribes, they're getting closer to saying, I want help. I want your help. And that's what you need to know. The third thing, and instead of inviting them to your email newsletter, is invite them to take a quiz and then send them the results via email. You get it, right? So generally, there are different ways to use a quiz, different ways probably that you have experienced them yourself, but you can either have an opt-in in order to take the quiz. That's not truly typical. You can have an opt-in after they take the quiz to get the results, which is like if you have somebody fill out, 10 questions, their responses, and then they get to the bottom to push submit, but to do it, they have to give their email address. I don't know about you, but I've walked away from that. I kind of hate it. It's like a bait and switch. Don't love it. But here's what I think is the most friendly way, that what would feel the best for me is allow them to take the quiz, input their responses, get an answer, but not get details about what they do with that information and what they should do next if they want to change it and get better results. That comes from their email subscription. So they opt in and then get the intelligence and the support about, this is you. This is probably going to describe you. Here's what you're probably doing. Here's what you're not doing. Here's where you should stop. These are going to be quick tips to help you get better results. And that's nurturing as you're doing that. Okay, so that's 3 so far. A juicy freebie that they will love. That's like your PDF, literally content of some kind. Provide a learning experience like a webinar where they can come, they can get the replay if they can't make it live, but only if they've subscribed and opted in, basically. Invite them to take a quiz. That's another one. It's essentially a freebie, but it's like there's interaction, which is really nice. And the fourth one also is interactive. Ask them to answer a survey so you can provide them the best information possible going forward and say, listen, if you, as a favor to me, complete this survey, I promise I will email you the results of the survey. Here's how I did this once, and it's been very effective. I continue to actually share the same survey and keep going back to it. And that is, I asked questions about what you know about bone density. What do you know about exercise and bone density? And it was, of these 4 answers, which is the best for bone density? Based on research of different protocols, which of these is the best for bone density? Based on the research about, for instance, nutrition. What of these habits is known to be best for supporting bone density? So there were probably 10 or 12 questions. And by having them answer, I then said, okay, you do this. Let me answer when we have got at least 1,000, because we want a big pool of women responding in order to give you not just, out of 20 people, this was said. So we now have about 2,000 people. But people love to participate. They actually find it like it was very informative for them. And then in a blog post follow-up and email follow-ups, I said, that maybe only 40% or 20% of women actually know what kind of exercise is the best for optimal bone density promotion in exercise. Are you one of them? And so it's done a lot for increasing our open rates in those emails. as follow-ups by those women were on our list, and they all wanted to know what the answer was. But even people who hadn't responded wanted to, and then they wanted to see what the questions are. So lots of engagement, and everybody got on our email list in order to get the emails. Now, I relayed that in a blog post so that the results were open to the public, but the link to do the quiz was there. And so they got to answer the questions, even though some of them had been revealed, but not all. So lots of different ways you can do this. These now become ways you're adding value, not just increasing the influx of emails that bombard us all and make us feel like we're drowning. Meaning, if I say, please send me another email because I just don't have too many of those during a week, you're inviting them to get something they want for free, or to give an opinion or contribute, which is something people usually really are compelled to do. And it's more inviting, right? The topic of the day. So do you do this too? I, for one, on the daily, I click something I requested, like I click an email, and I don't really have time to dig in at the moment. And then later, because I haven't come back to it, like in weeks, and then it's just one of those cumulative 4,000 emails sitting in my inbox, and I'll delete it anyway. So now I'm deleting. And if I get more emails from somebody I haven't opened, they'll go to your promotions box, and then sometimes I'll just go through that, or I will have my executive assistant now go through that and just say, unsubscribe, get me out of here, get these people off my list. So even if your get my newsletter invite works for you, you probably have an issue. So they're in, right? But they're out too if you have this newsy email in most cases. There you have it. The episode, or this episode of Say This, Not That, all about how to have a better marketing approach than, hey, get my email newsletter. Is there one of these better fitness marketing tools that resonates with you? Leave me a comment or a rating in iTunes for the Fitness Marketing Mastery Show. If so, that's how you can thank me. If you're not already a fitnessmarketingmastery.com subscriber, you'll find a message from me on the homepage there about how I can help you make your business go or grow in this next year. Take action. Whatever you do, if you're walking, you're running, you're lifting, pull out that phone and create a note. If you got inspired by one of these ideas, don't look at all 4 of these are great ideas. I don't know which one to do, right? I know that problem. Choose one. Which one really was like, I got a good idea. I think I'm going to try that one. And you may end up having 4 different opt-ins. But don't create number 2, 3, and 4 until number 1 is a badass. It's working. Then create the others that are slightly different and going to attract a slightly different crowd, and optimize what it is you're doing. Okay, I know I do this. I get inspired. I'm usually on a trail while I'm listening to podcasts. And if I don't capture it, I lose that great idea. Better fitness marketing tools can be implemented if you don't, or they can't be implemented if you don't remember the inspiring thought that you had. I've done that so many times. Like in the moment, I think I'm going to remember that. I'll write it down as soon as I get home. And I don't. I just don't. So there are resources mentioned in this episode. I will link to them in the show notes. There are also going to be some other episodes that you might like from this Say This, Not That series that we're doing. You'll find the show notes at fitnessmarketingmastery.com/better fitness marketing tools. So what are you waiting for? The world needs you and I right now more than ever.